My name is Anna. I want to share a story I have never told anyone before. I am almost 18 years old. I grew up in a place where early marriages are common and most girls are expected to marry young. My life was simple, but my heart was full of dreams. Like many other girls, I dreamed about love, about being held, being seen, and being understood. I imagined a man who would smile at me like I was the only person in the world. I did not want diamonds or big houses or trips to big cities. I just wanted love that felt real. When my marriage was arranged with Ethan, I did not cry. I had seen other girls my age get married. Some looked happy, others looked tired and lost. I told myself to be brave. My parents were kind. They truly believed Ethan was a good man, so I trusted them. Still, deep inside, I was afraid. Not because Ethan looked cruel or strange, but because he was still a stranger to me. A stranger I would now live with, sleep beside, and call my husband. The days before the wedding were full of noise and visitors. Relatives came and went. There were functions, music, and endless photographs. But inside my heart, there was a quiet storm. At night, when I was alone in my room, I lay awake and thought about the first night with him. I had heard many things from my cousins and friends. Some said it would hurt. Some said it would feel special, like a dream. Others said nothing at all, just smiled and looked away when I asked. The wedding day arrived. I wore a dress of deep red with golden work on it. My hands were covered in henna, the brownish red dye brides wear in our culture. My face was painted with makeup. Everyone told me I looked beautiful. I smiled at the camera, but inside I felt like a little girl playing dress up in clothes that did not belong to her. The moment came when I had to leave my parents' house. My mother cried as she held me. My father stood quiet, looking away, his eyes wet. I hugged them tightly, not knowing when I would feel their arms again. My heart was heavy, but my feet moved forward. When we reached Ethan's home, my new home, his family welcomed me kindly. There were smiles, sweets, blessings, and prayers, but their kindness could not calm the fear in my chest. Later, when the guests had gone and the house grew silent, I was taken to the room. The door opened slowly. Soft golden lights glowed inside. The bed was covered with rose petals. The air smelled of perfume mixed with something sweet. I stepped inside and sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to disturb anything. My hands rested stiffly in my lap. My heart beat so loud I thought he might hear it from outside. My lips felt dry. My whole body was trembling. I kept my eyes low. I did not know what to expect. I did not know Ethan. Not really. We had spoken only a few times before the wedding, always with people around us. He had been polite then, but tonight everything was different. The door opened again. I knew it was him. My stomach turned. I did not look up. I felt the bed shift as he sat down near me, but not too close. The silence in the room was deep. I could hear my own breathing. I did not dare move. Then he spoke. "Anna," he said softly, "I know this is not easy for you. I won't force anything. I only want to talk first." His voice was calm, lighter than I expected. It did not sound like a man demanding something. It sounded like someone trying to give comfort. That made me curious. Slowly, I turned my head to look at him. He was smiling, but it was not a bold or confident smile. It was nervous, a little shy like mine. For the first time since morning, I felt a small wave of peace. He did not rush closer. Instead, he reached to the table beside the bed and picked up a glass of water. He offered it to me. I reached out carefully and took it. Our fingers touched for only a second, but that short touch sent a spark through me. My cheeks grew hot. I lowered my eyes again, not knowing what else to do. He gave a small chuckle. "You don't have to be afraid," he said gently. "I'm not going to eat you." I couldn't help it. I smiled, just a little. But that small smile felt like a door opening. He noticed it too. He began talking, not about serious things, but about funny parts of his life. He told me how nervous he had felt before entering the room, how he even asked his cousin for advice, and how his cousin just laughed and ran away. I listened quietly, watching his face. He was not pretending. He was not trying to act like a hero. He was just being himself, open, awkward, but honest. With every word he spoke, I felt a layer of my fear melt away. After a pause, he looked at me and asked, "Can I hold your hand?" I did not answer with words. I only nodded slowly. He reached out and gently took my hand. His hand was warm and steady, not rough. He did not squeeze tightly. He held it as if it were something delicate, something precious. His thumb brushed lightly across the back of my hand. My heart raced again, but this time the feeling was not fear. It was something soft, something safe. He leaned a little closer, but still gave me space. "Anna," he whispered, "I won't do anything tonight unless you are ready. I want you to feel safe, not scared." Something inside me broke when he said that. A wall I had carried for too long fell down. My eyes filled with tears. I had imagined this night as something painful, something I would have to endure. But here was this man, this stranger, being gentle and patient. He did not ask why I cried. He simply raised his hand and wiped my tears softly with his fingers. That touch on my cheek made me close my eyes. It was not about lust. It was not about rights. It was about care. He leaned forward and kissed my forehead. A long, warm kiss. Not rushed, not demanding, just still and kind, like a silent promise. Then he whispered, "We have our whole life, Anna. Let tonight be the start of trust, not fear." That night, we did not turn off the lights. He said, "You might sleep better if the room isn't too dark." He was right. I nodded. The soft golden light stayed on, making the room feel safer. He lay down beside me, leaving space between us. His eyes looked at the ceiling, and mine looked at the flowers on the bed cover, but it did not feel awkward. It felt calm. After a few minutes, he asked softly, "Do you want to tell me something about yourself?" No one had asked me that in weeks. People had been telling me what to do, what to wear, how to sit, what to say, but he wanted to listen. So I said I like to draw. I used to make sketches in my school notebooks when class was boring. He smiled and said, "I wish I could have seen them. Maybe you would have drawn me too." I laughed a little. It felt good to laugh. Then I told him about my younger brother who always stole my food, about how I never learned to ride a bicycle, about how I had always imagined a pink dress for my wedding, not a red one. He listened to everything as if each story mattered. Then he shared his own stories, how he once tried to cook noodles but set off the fire alarm, how his mother still called him my baby, how he was still afraid of thunder even though he was grown. We talked like that for hours. Our hands stayed together. Not once did he pull me closer without asking. He let the moment grow slowly, like sunlight coming through a thin curtain. After a while, he asked, "Can I hold you?" "Only if you want." I looked at him. I did not feel afraid anymore. I nodded. He moved gently and wrapped one arm around me. My head rested against his chest. I could hear his heartbeat, slow and steady. My body, which had been tense all day, finally began to relax. He whispered again, "Tonight is not about being husband and wife. It is about being two people, making space for each other's hearts." My throat tightened. I had never heard anyone speak like that. Not about duty, not about rights, but about care, respect, shelter. I felt tears again, but this time they came from relief. For the first time that day, I felt safe. I lifted my head and looked at him. He was already watching me, but not like someone demanding, just waiting, just present. Slowly, I leaned forward and kissed his cheek. He smiled softly. Then he asked, "Can I kiss you?" I nodded. He leaned closer. His lips touched mine. The kiss was soft, unhurried, like touching still water. My hands moved to his shoulders without thinking. The kiss grew deeper, but always gentle. We laughed when our hands bumped clumsily. We stopped when we didn't know what to do. That awkwardness made it real, made it ours. Each time he asked, "Is this okay?" I answered, "Yes." Every time I said yes, I felt respected. I felt in control. There were moments when we only held each other, moments when we whispered silly words, moments when the world outside disappeared. When we finally fell asleep, the first light of morning had begun to enter the room. My head rested on his chest. His hand rested on mine. Before I closed my eyes, I whispered, "Thank you." He pulled me closer and said, "You never need to thank me for kindness. You deserve it." That morning, I woke to the sound of birds. The sunlight filled the room gently. His arm was still around me. For the first time in weeks, my body felt light, not heavy with fear. When I looked up, he was already awake, watching me with a soft smile. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning," I whispered. He brushed a small piece of hair from my face and told me I had looked peaceful in my sleep. We talked about small things, silly things. He told me how his mother always put too much sugar in her tea. I told him how he always lost one sock from each pair. We laughed. Then he asked seriously, "Did you feel safe with me last night?" Not happy, not satisfied, safe. That one question told me everything about him. I answered, "Yes, safer than I thought I could." He kissed my forehead and said, "That's all I wanted." Days turned into weeks. We learned each other slowly. He did not stop being gentle. He kept asking me how I felt, if I wanted space, if I wanted to talk. I asked him too about his fears, his dreams. One night I asked, "Were you scared that night?" He smiled and said, terrified. I didn't know how to touch you without hurting you. I didn't know if you would hate me, but I wanted you to feel safe first. That was the most important thing. I felt tears again, the kind that come when someone finally says the words you always hope to hear. We were not perfect. We had quiet dinners. We had days when we didn't talk much, but respect never left our home. Respect became the ground where love could grow. Many people think the first night is only about the body, but I learned something different. It is about the heart. It is about trust. It is about care and patience. That night made me believe love could be soft and real. When people ask me about my first night, I don't hide or blush. I say it was gentle. It was kind. It was the beginning of trust. I know not every woman is lucky. I know many girls enter that room with fear and leave with pain. I wish I could change that. I wish every man understood that true strength is not in speed or power. True strength is in patience, in gentleness. To every girl who is afraid of her first night, I say, it is your night too. You do not owe your body to anyone. Your feelings matter. The right man will wait. The right man will care. To every man, I say, be the reason she feels safe, not silent. Be the reason she feels loved, not afraid. When I look back now, I don't remember the perfume I wore or which earrings I had on. I remember his voice. I remember the way he held my hand carefully. I remember the kiss on my forehead, the one that told me everything would be okay. That night changed not only how I saw him, but how I saw myself. I was not a gift to be opened. I was a soul to be known. And he knew me with care, with patience, with respect. That is what I call love. If this story touched you, please like, comment, and share. More stories of courage, love, and hope are coming soon.